Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
What day is it?
Today's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Hey, sorry I woke you up.
Time to get up.
It's time to get up.
You know I do not get up at times.
You're the reason people wake up in the morning.
Don't kiss me. Morning breath.
What time do you have?
Oh, time for work.
Ready to start the day.
Everyone have a good show.
It's showtime.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. So many sports intersecting right now. Big 12 Media Days kick off in about an hour. In the 7 o'clock hour, we'll head to the Star in Dallas, where the Big 12 Media Days, today and tomorrow, it's Texas Tech and BYU and Oklahoma State. I think Houston is today as well. The Utes are coming up tomorrow. So we will have 2 days worth of coverage getting underway in the next hour. And actually later this hour, you'll hear from Pete Sousa, who does a Big 12 podcast, calls games on ESPN. PK and I talking with him. We'll get to that coming up later this hour. We'll start, though, with the basketball and the soccer. The Jazz with another impressive performance, and Darryn Peterson looked good. We'll get to that coming up. But first, we'll start with the bad news. The U.S. soccer team is out at the World Cup, out in the round of 16 again, dominated by Belgium, 4-1. And it was 2-1 at the half. And no matter what they did, even when they did something right, they immediately followed it up by making a couple of mistakes. It was a clear one step forward, two step back kind of performance. You know, the question, is it disappointing? Yes. Did they do some exciting things in this tournament? Yes. But those are offset by the fact that this was a bigger tournament. So there were more teams in it that they should be able to beat. This was the 15th ranked team in the world going into the tournament. And, you know, with every match, it bounces around a little bit. But you get the idea. They're not in the top 10. They are in the next 10. And that's the way the tournament played out again. And this is the fourth time in the last 5 tournaments that they've gone out in the round of 16. They were knocked out in the round of 16 by the Netherlands 4 years ago. 8 years ago, in 2018, they didn't qualify. That was a disaster. In 2014, they lost to Belgium in Brazil. And in 2010, they got knocked out by Ghana in South Africa. So this is where the United States is. I don't know what to tell you. And it's disappointing for multiple reasons. The biggest single reason is home field advantage is massive in soccer, and they had it, and they didn't capitalize on it. And there are plenty of teams that you can look at that say, well, when they hosted, they had their best tournament ever because the home field's that powerful. I mean, you can go back 60 years to England. They've won the Cup one time, and who hosted? England. Who won when it was in France? France. When it went to South Korea and Japan, South Korea went to the semifinals. You're supposed to do well when you host. Now, not all hosts do, and that makes it a disappointment. I think that's what it is for this U.S. team. They did a good job beating some teams along the way, but those are teams they were supposed to beat, teams that were ranked below them in the rankings. This is the first time they played anybody in the top 20, and Belgium took them apart. Now, Belgium beat them 5-2 in March. That was an exhibition. But now they beat them 4-1 in the World Cup. Well, what does that tell you? It tells you Belgium's better, you know? How does the U.S. get more top-end players, and how do they get more depth? Christian Pulisic had to leave partway through the second half, and you know they don't have another Christian Pulisic. And meanwhile, Belgium's bringing stars off the bench. Lukaku's coming off the bench. De Bruyne didn't even play. I mean, he is an elite midfielder, not as athletic as he used to be, older. So Doku also came in and looked good, and he's a talented young player. Belgium's got more good players. I don't know what to tell you. And also the tactics, they dominated the midfield, controlled the ball in the first 45 minutes, and the U.S. made adjustments with a substitution at halftime and got numbers up in the midfield and started to control the game. But that just brings you to the point, well, why didn't they do it in the first half? They got outfoxed in the first 45 minutes. And there were just some brutal mistakes on top of that. Bad giveaways, guys ball watching. Mistakes were made. The first goal should have cleared that. Absolutely should have cleared that. The third goal, It's a massive goalkeeping blunder. You got to get that. You can't kick the ground. You got to get your left foot into that ball, and you got to send that thing 50 yards downfield and get it out of there. Instead, you lose the ball, and they score, and basically the game is over. So, was not a good performance. They'll try again in 4 years, but in 4 years, there'll be a few matches played in Uruguay, but mostly it'll be played in Morocco and in France and Spain. Excuse me, Morocco, Spain, not France. In Morocco and Spain. And when the U.S. plays in Europe, it usually doesn't go well. Europe hosted in 2006. The U.S. did not make it out of group play. Europe hosted in 98. The U.S. did not make it out of group play. Europe hosted in 1990. The U.S. did not make it out of group play. You see a pattern? Last time it was in Russia. The U.S. didn't even qualify, so they couldn't bomb out of the tournament. They didn't qualify for it. So we'll see what happens going forward. All right, we'll take a break. DJ and PK. When we come back, the Utah Jazz. Another night, another game. The Grizzlies, Darryn Peterson goes off again. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. All right, time to spend a few minutes on your Utah Jazz. They win again in the NBA Summer League. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies 109-100. Another strong performance for Darryn Peterson. 25 points, 12 assists. Scored in a lot of different ways. Didn't shoot the three all that well. He was 3 of 9 from 3, made all of his free throws, and 8 of 15 from the floor, again over 50%. I love the 12 assists. They came in a lot of different ways. The buckets came in a lot of different ways. Again, he scored the first bucket of the game. It's kind of ironic. The number 2 pick in the draft scored the first bucket of the game, a two-pointer. And the number 3 pick in the draft scored the next bucket. Boozer hit a three-pointer. So number 2 scored a 2, number 3 scored a 3, and we were off and running. Cam Boozer finished with 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal. He did have 4 turnovers. For Peterson, 25 points, 12 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 2 steals. Really cut down on the steals after having 8 in the opener. So that was a bright spot. And hit a little spinning hook in the lane to get things started. Had a nice layup on the right side. Hit a 3 from the right side. He was everywhere. Also went fouled and went to the line. I mean, he had like 9 points and 2 assists in 3.5 minutes. He just dominated right out. Just right out of the gate again. And I liked his assists. One driving down the left side of the lane, he kicked it out to Hinson for a 3. Had the ball in the backcourt, threw ahead 50 or 60 feet, found Hinson for another 3. Really mixed it up. Ran a pick and roll, dumped the ball inside to one of the bigs. I forget which one. Got an easy bucket there. So there was a lot to like. And I think the most important thing with Darryn Peterson, not perfect. It's never perfect. He's a young guy. It's only Summer League, all that stuff. But he makes it look easy, and he's making the simple play. He's beating a lot of guys off the dribble. We'll see if people can stay in front of him in the NBA. But I can tell you right now, they cannot stay in front of him in Summer League. So that's a good sign. If they can stay in front of you in Summer League, then you're going to have problems in the winter. But he's just getting a hoop and is breaking down the defense and getting into the paint over and over. Quinn Snyder used to say, breaking the paint. I don't know about breaking the paint, but I guess it's a cool expression, whatever. But Peterson continues to impress. Good game for Cody Williams also. In 30 minutes, he had 18 points, 8 rebounds, and assists, a couple turnovers, and a steal and a block. So a little bit of everything. Cody a little stronger and willing to bully guys, at least in the Summer League. We'll see how it translates, but it does look like a step forward for him. Ace Bailey didn't play. So no update there. And I think that's just a function. They played 10 guys. I think that's a function of having a big roster, and they had 7 guys who didn't play, and I suspect Ace will be in tonight. We'll see if Peterson is. with these 7 guys coming in, I expect there are about 3 guys who will repeat again. So we'll see if they have Cody Williams and Darryn Peterson play back-to-back. They'll be back at it again tonight. And the games are coming fast and furious because after this, they're going to go down to Las Vegas. So there is plenty of basketball left to be played. They probably get about 5 games down there, I would guess. We'll see how that goes. But they play again tonight. One more game in Salt Lake. They play the Thunder tonight, 7 o'clock. So you got that to look forward to. All right, little post-game analysis after the Jazz pick up that win. Let's hear from the coach of the Summer League team, Steve Wojciechowski.
Darryn, I think, saw a little bit more doubles and saw a little bit kind of more aggressive defense today. How do you think that he did with that?
I mean, pretty well. I haven't watched the tape, but he's able to play at the pace the game calls for. Look, he's going to be closely guarded and doubled probably a lot of his career, and he for a young guy to be able to play at the pace the game calls for is a very unique skill, and he's got a great ability to stay neutral. Whether a guy is pressuring him full court, whether he's being trapped, whether it's the first possession of the first quarter or the last possession of the fourth quarter, he stays pretty present in the moment, and he's a really talented young player.
Is that presence and kind of his ability to not get sped up in those moments unique in your experience for such a young player?
Yeah, I'm still working on it, and this is like my 30th year. It's really unique. Having coached that age kid for over 2 decades, it's rare. But the thing that's obviously his play, you don't need me to talk about his play. His play speaks for itself. I tell you what, he's a really hungry learner. And I mean, he's watching tape with Coach Hardy. He wants to be great, and he's got, I think, what it takes. It's still a long way to go. It's Summer League, but he's got a lot of talent. He works incredibly hard, and he is a sponge in terms of learning. And when you mix all that together, it usually produces something really good.
Cody Williams recently talked about being sort of a secondary playmaker for the Jazz today. He played really well, did have some turnovers. What do you in Summer League, it's important to sort of go through those reps. What are you seeing from Cody sort of in that way as a playmaker?
Cody's had a great summer. He has been in the gym, he's working on his game, and one of the things that he's working on is handling pressure and being able to be a guy who can help with the ball handling. And we want to give him an opportunity to do that this summer. And Summer League is a great time to do it because the ball pressure in Summer League at times is even more aggressive than what you would see in a normal regular season game. So these are great opportunities for Cody to learn, to handle the ball, to make some decisions. And through 2 games, I think he's done a very good job. And being in those positions, he can even learn how to do a better job.
Coach, what do you think about Darryn's late game decision making specifically? You saw it a little bit on Saturday with, I think, a defensive moment he had when he got the possession back, made a 3, and then also tonight, his clutch moments. But those are really important moments for him.
I mean, hugely important. And, his scoring, I think jumps off the page. But when you watch the game back, there's a lot of different winning plays that he has his fingerprints on. His scoring is what gets the most attention. But he's gotten better defensively. He gets his hand on balls. He ends up being in the right spot at the right moments and key moments. And, I'm hopeful this experience has been great for him to have that because it's been a while since he's, played. So this is great to do it against other, high-level players.
Blake Henson came on later in the season for the team. What did he show out tonight?
You know, Blake can really shoot, and he's capable of going on a one-man streak with his three-point shooting. Then he, you know, like Blake's had a great summer as well. He's lost a bunch of weight, and he's made a huge commitment in the game. His shot hasn't fallen up until tonight, but you know, his shot is there. I mean, that the law of averages, he's going to shoot a really good percentage. It's the other areas of the game that the conditioning improvement have allowed him to make an impact. Defensively, just the way he moves offensively and defensively, he's really taken a step forward there. And it was good to see a couple shots go through the hoop, and I'm hoping that trend continues.
Coach, building off the question about Darryn's decision-making, last game he was in here disappointed about having 8 turnovers. Tonight, at least the stats I'm seeing, he only had 2. On top of that, he had 12 assists. Do you think that was just a goal of him today for him going into this game of, like, let me be smart with the ball and facilitate tonight?
Well, Memphis really pressures the ball. I don't know if you saw him play yesterday, but their signature pretty much every summer league I've been involved in is they really make you handle pressure. And so coming into the game, he knew that. And like most, you know, guys who want to be great, like, it's not just about what you, like, they expect to do well. You know, Darryn expects to do well. And it's how can I be better is the question that he asks himself. And that's a very mature question for a young player to ask, especially, you know, like, it's his first game in front of Jazz fans. It's his first game in Jazz uniform. Like, we have an incredible fan base, like, and it doesn't faze him, and that's pretty unusual.
All right, there's the coach, Steve Wojciechowski. Now here's Darryn Peterson coming off a strong performance, 25 points, 12 assists in 28 minutes. Here's DP.
Darryn, I kind of want to ask you like a general question about basketball, and I'm going to say this with the caveat of understanding. I know that this is summer league. I know that it's 2 games, but all of that kind of to the side. What are your general thoughts when you think about, like, greatness for yourself? Like, do you want to be great, and what does that mean to you?
You got pretty deep on that. That's a good question. What is greatness to me? I think it's just kind of being one-on-one. Just not a ton of people that I would say achieve greatness. Definitely something I want to try to achieve. Far away from it now. I'm so early in my career in summer league, but something I want to try to achieve by the end of my career. So that was part of that one-on-one, part of greatness. So definitely important to me for sure.
I'm going to ask you about one of your opponents. You know, what have you seen? What did you see out of Cam? You know, and just kind of what have you seen out of him? You know, last year at Duke and pre-draft, and you know, just kind of what are your thoughts on just kind of his game a little bit?
Yeah, a great player. I've been playing against him for a couple of years now. Played with him. I think it's cool to see somebody in my class and being out here and competing against each other and competing at this level. Great player. Was always at the top of all the scouting lists when I played against him. Played pretty. I think he played good today as well. So I think it's great. Our class is going to, I think, be one of those classes. So it's great to always go against one of the guys.
Darryn, last time we chatted with you, you were saying how you had 8 turnovers and you need to improve on that. Tonight, just 2, and you had 12 assists. Mm-hmm. Was that a goal tonight of like, hey, I'm going to head into this game and I'm going to facilitate and take care of the ball?
Yeah, for sure. 8 is insane. That's way too many. So I definitely told myself I had to cut those down.
You were facilitating a lot more tonight. They were throwing the blitz at you, which I guess the 2-part question is, are you just used to seeing that from all your years of playing, and how do you handle that maturely? And then was that the goal, was, hey, if they're going to come at me like this, hit the short roll, find the open man wherever? Yeah,
I've been playing against the blitz for a while now. Not a ton at Kansas. I was off the ball a bit, but I'm kind of used to it. So just kind of reacted to it. I had to make plays for my teammates, and I try to do that.
Darryn, you played against a lot of really good defenders in college, Ivan Karchenkov, Emmanuel Sharp. What's the difference between playing against those guys, and especially when you, like you said, you're off the ball, so you're in kind of a scoring agenda then versus the balancing playmaking scoring today, and then playing Jemai Meshack, playing against Cedric Coward? Take me through kind of the difference and the evolution of your game against the stronger players.
Definitely credit to the offense. Definitely like a totally different offense setup. Way more space. So I think all those guys that you named are great defenders, but just coaching, I think they put me in the right positions. Not nothing against Kansas, but great coaches in that and great offense in that, but just two totally different game types.
Darryn, pulling from two questions already, a lot of great players use anything to motivate them, right? And after the game, you talked about whenever you can assert dominance, you try to. Playing against Cam Boozer, another top 3 pick, a guy that there's a lot of discussion in the pre-draft process. Did you pull any motivation from that playing against him?
Always. I try to find something against everybody I play against. Yeah, he was the pick after me, so I know he probably had an agenda today as well, so I couldn't let that ride. Yeah.
Along those lines of, if we don't get to talk to you again before we get to Vegas, the game there is going to be against AJ.
Yeah.
Is that motivating?
I think I'm motivated for every game, but obviously that one is going to be a big one. But, yeah, I'm motivated for every game. So.
I mean, I know that before last game, you were talking about knowing that Zuby was on the court and that you were thinking about that and thinking about that last game against Sam. I mean, are you kind of trying to push aside the fact that it's going to be number 1 versus number 2 picks in that game?
Yes, I think it's more just Utah versus Washington, but obviously, like I said, it's going to be gassed up that way. So definitely want to just try to help my team win.
Hi, Darryn. To get to where you've gotten to already, you have to love to work hard. Love putting in the work, love getting better. To get to where you want to go, you've got to love to work hard. Where do you develop your work ethic? What do you love about a hard work, putting in hard work over the course of the day? And you seem very goal-oriented too, and that's really important.
I would say something my pops instilled in me was work ethic. From a young age, I had a routine, a schedule that I followed probably for 5 years straight, where I had a routine that I followed and wouldn't get off it. So I think it started then, and then now I figure out a routine and I stick to it. So I think that is something that separates me. And then what was it? What do I love about hard work?
Yeah, what do you love about it? It feels good to put in a good hard.
For sure. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else in here works out, but when you wake up early in the morning, you're dreading the workout, but after you feel good about it. So that's always on my mind. I would just say that.
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
For sure. I think you just feel good after you wake up and you're dreading doing something and you do it. And then after you it wasn't even that bad, I got through it. So now it's kind of just me. For sure.
Darryn, I think after Saturday's game, you talked about how you were going to be watching film with Coach Hardy.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that's been like to take in film just at this level now and kind of consume it, break it down?
Yeah. First and foremost, I think it's super cool that he's willing to watch film with me. Something that I didn't do at Kansas was watch film with my head coach. So that's huge for me. And then we just broke down. We watched this morning actually. So. He called out some things, like I said yesterday, with the defense and box outs and stuff. So we seen eye to eye on that. And we also watched some, I forget his name, some defense player on the Ravens. He said, I need to be like this on defense. Someone, I forget his name. Is it, I might be wrong, I don't want to get it wrong. Is it Ed Reed maybe for the Ravens? Yeah, we watched him on film today. So I thought that was cool too. But yeah, man, I think we were building a great relationship.
How did you pick up the you said from the Ravens?
Yeah.
All kind of translates.
Yeah. He said that's just one of his favorite athletes, and he's just a safety. So he said I just need to be that aware and that light on my feet on defense, just trying to make plays.
You've already kind of brushed up on this topic, but going back to the Cam Boozer matchup, I don't know if you could sense in the arena that a lot of people were really anticipating this matchup, and on the very first possession, you got the ball, and the crowd was already erupting. Could you kind of feel that going into the game, that people were really anticipating this, and now that your experience here is coming to a close, what do you make of the Salt Lake City Summer League?
Yeah, I think that's super cool. Like, I think they did it yesterday too. Once I got the ball, it got kind of loud. So, yeah, I'm loving the fans already. And I kind of knew going into it, it was kind of the matchup thing, but I don't really let that be in my head when I play. I just go Utah versus Memphis. Let's try to win.
All right, there's Darryn Peterson, a little Jazz talk. We will take a break. We will pivot, and when we come back, Pete Sousa from the Big 12 podcast will join us, and we will talk Big 12 football with him with Big 12 Media Days coming up today at the Star in Dallas in the 7 o'clock hour. Stay with us.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Pete Sousa joined us late in yesterday's show, does the Big 12 podcast, calls games on ESPN. And we talked about the Big 12 Media Days. And, of course, he and PK talked about Jersey. Why wouldn't they? Ham rolls down the Jersey Shore, all that stuff. Let's get a little Big 12 football with Pete Sousa.
You know, it's funny. I'm from Philadelphia, but I live in Texas now. So it's a short trip tomorrow for me to the Star and Media Days. So, yeah, with that song rolling in, to Texas Pete here with you. I choose Texas. I choose Texas.
That song has caught the country world by storm. I think it's been like 12 weeks, number one or something like that. It's quite the popular tune.
And if they had any more of a reason to be proud around here in Texas, they have another one. Yeah, it's very, very popular in these parts too.
And you're from Philadelphia?
Yeah, right outside. I grew up right where Villanova University is. So that first win of the season last year for BYU was a tough one for me because it was a loss. I've always followed Villanova sports. My mom worked there, during the Raleigh-Massimino era. I kind of grew up in the shadows of the university. So it was some good times.
So what was your Jersey Shore of choice? Was it Ocean City?
Avalon. And I never, we never, not like we were totally slumming it, but we never had a place down there. So I would go and hang with friends that had houses, maybe Avalon or Ocean City. But most of my time was spent in Avalon. I love the Jersey Shore. I miss it.
Me too.
There you go. Where are you from? What's your relationship with the Jersey Shore?
All right, sorry, people. We're not going to talk Big 12 today. PK's going down memory lane.
I was born in North Jersey. My sister went to Glassboro. I lived down in South Jersey for a bit, had a job at a slide at Ocean City. And I'm not sure all these years later how I ended up in Utah, but here I am.
Hey, well, Utah's amazing. That's why we're going to have to take this offline, though, and compare notes at some point. This is good. You got me excited now. Almost as excited as I am for tomorrow in Big 12 Media Days.
Well, you two can go offline there and during some downtime and compare notes. PK is going to be camped out for 2 days, so go to town.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to many things about Big 12 Media Day. One of them is the resurrection of Oklahoma State football. In this era of the transfer portal, how quickly can you turn things around? They were really good until they were really bad. How quickly can they be really good again?
I think there is a little bit of too much excitement or too much optimism on a national level. And I'm not saying by any means this is a lazy opinion, even for me, because right away you think, oh, my gosh, Eric Morris, Drew Mestamaker, Caleb Hawkins, that trifecta can take this team. And are we looking at the next Indiana, right? I think that's why I say, at least myself, I got to pump the brakes a little bit, because when you look at some of the games that Mestamaker had last year, just some of that competition, it's far off from what he's going to be facing week in, week out in the Big 12. And Eric Morris is a brilliant coach, and he's bringing a lot of guys with him. But I'm very interested to see. This is, to me, one of the biggest or best litmus tests in the country to really see where we are right now, because this is a new frontier. We did see Indiana, and Kurt Signetti did it. Now, that's a very Curt Cignetti's elite, right? I'm not saying that Eric Morris is nearing that conversation, but I am saying I want to see more of this, right? More of these, whether it's Group of Five or FCS schools that collectively move up to a Power Four conference. I need a little bit more evidence, a bigger body of work to just be right away, oh, they're going to turn it around. The Big 12 is a damn good conference. And I don't know that you can just walk in there and be 8-4 or 7-5. I have them at 5-7, and that's still great because they didn't win one conference game last year.
Yeah, that's amazing that they fell off that much, and so pretty much anything will be an improvement. It's just a question of what level of improvement they will make. The Sorsby thing took over the country for a day or two or a week or so. And I'm wondering, what you think as far as what's it going to be as being addressed here, whether it's by Yormark or what's Texas Tech going to be in terms of their attitude with Joe McGuire. And I look at the players that they're bringing, and they did not bring a quarterback. They did not bring Hammond. And so I found that a little unusual. I know maybe he's rehabbing. I don't know. But I would have thought, because they bring, 6 guys or so and not a quarterback, how much of a story do you think that'll be?
It's going to have to be, talked about. It's definitely a storyline. Like, we're going to interview, I'm there with the Big 12 and Raycom, and we're interviewing every coach of every team and players from every team. So we'll have an opportunity to talk to Joey McGuire about it. I think you have to address it and just do your job and ask the question if you're me. At the same time, I think that it's kind of a shrewd PR move not to bring Will Hammond, so he doesn't have to live in that for a couple of days or at least a day. I think that Brett Yormark may address it too, because you've got two groupings, right? Say what you want about Texas Tech, they're not afraid. They will talk about it. And Brett Yormark, I thought he was the one guy who was actually the big winner in this whole thing, because he didn't bend to Texas Tech. I mean, eventually. Brett Yormark in the Big 12 was the reason that Brendan Sorsby, and this is a shame, this stinks, but now he's kind of sidelined for this year, but that's a consequence. But all that being said, I think Will Hammond, I don't think it's that much of a drop-off. I think the number one question mark is Will Hammond's health. And from what I'm hearing, he'll be ready to go week 1. Initially, we thought, okay, maybe it's week 3, Houston. I have heard from folks in Lubbock, like, there's no way that would be his first snap, would be a conference game against Houston, and that he will be ready to play some of those non-con games. And if he's healthy, he's darn good. And I don't know that I think we gave a lot of life to the Sorsby situation because it was a very interesting story in it, and it says a lot about where we are in college sports and college football today with gambling and just the constant change. But Will Hammond's a really good quarterback, and I think that we'll be pleasantly surprised will Texas Tech fans be. And I think folks around the nation will just flat out be surprised. I don't think they'll drop off that much. The talent drop-off is like hardly anything. It's just a matter of, how well will he do physically, like a re-entry point into day-to-day. Because that was a bad injury, and it was October, so it hasn't even been a year yet.
You mentioned Texas Tech, that conference opener week 3 with Houston. Houston's coming off a 10-3 season. They didn't play the Utes and Cougars. They did sweep the Arizona schools, so the back-to-back weeks, that's impressive. They got blown out by Texas Tech and lost to TCU. Are they paper tiger? Do you really think they're building something there? Can you put them in the top quarter of the league? What do you think?
I think you absolutely can put them in the top quarter of the league, and I think that Willie Fritz is a huge reason for that. I think that also when you see, the play of Connor Wegman last year, we finally got to see him, play a whole season healthy. That's a big deal. You talk to quarterbacks, and we just talked about Will Hammond and his health. Mental toughness, a lot of it comes from playing and being on the field. It sounds simple, but it's hard to stay healthy for these guys in a sport where it's just so brutal. And with Connor Wegman back, they got Amari Thomas back, a terrific wide receiver. Mekhi Lawrence is the running back. He was at Tulane with Willie Fritz, and now he's back with Willie Fritz, now at Houston. They've got the weapons to keep it going. Now, the schedule is going to be more difficult, and I think it is. I think, even BYU, their first their early slate last year was really manageable, and they took advantage. And Houston was the same way, and they build momentum, build confidence. Well, now it's going to be different. You're going to have early tests. And, if you get knocked on your back in week 3, and beat up real good, how are you going to respond? So that game that we just talked about, I think you circle that one as an indicator as to where Houston's going to be. We'll find out early in the season. But I don't think they're a paper tiger. I think Willie Fritz is the real deal. And he was almost, to a fault, so patient as a coach. He was not in a rush to get anywhere. So that's why he didn't really come on our radars till about 10 years ago. Spent a lot of time FCS and small Division I, and now here he is. And I think he's going to be here to stay. I believe people in Houston think there is a belief there that with all the success with college basketball and the influx of money to that university, not as much NIL as they would like, but better than it used to be. I think there's a confidence there. We may have something here for the whole athletic department, and Houston football is definitely a part of that.
We have some stability in the Big 12. We'll see how long it lasts, right? This is, the third year of these teams all being together. And the first year we had the Sun Devils. That's how I got west. I ended up moving to Phoenix and went to ASU, but if you're wondering. But anyway, so they were the big surprise. And I think last year, we can argue, you had at least a couple of surprises in Houston and Arizona, right? Because they were coming off horrible years. So if I were to ask you, which I will, obviously, which teams do you think can be a big surprise this year? So it would have to be somebody who is predicted to be in the bottom, whether it be Iowa State, Colorado. We mentioned Oklahoma State to a degree. Do you think there will be surprise one or two teams? And if so, who?
Well, I think the team that I have, it's funny, we gave in order to prep for all these preview shows for each team, and it was a great exercise. I hadn't done this in a while. You go down and you just do everybody's record, and you kind of have to have, I'm terrible at math, but you have to have a matrix feel, right? You can't say Houston's going to beat Texas Tech, when you're doing it on Tuesday, and then Thursday you're doing it and you're going through Texas Tech's schedule. It's oh, yeah, well, I can't say Texas Tech's going to beat Houston because, so you have to, for someone like me, that's not as easy as it sounds. So I had to make sure all that was in line. And once I figured that out, I looked down at my record and I said, wow, I have UCF at 8-4 or 7-5. And that is a school to me where, first of all, the state of Florida, they just have guys. Last year I was calling a UCF game, and Scott Frost was talking to us on a Friday, and he was describing a kid, and he said, he's just a Florida kid. And, you could tell he had an affinity for this young man. I said, well, what does that mean? He's a Florida kid. He said, dude, it means he loves football, will play all day, and it's what he was raised on. And that's one of the reasons he came back, because he knew it was a fertile ground. Everywhere you turn around, you've got another Hoss, right, that you can recruit. So there's that at UCF, right? And then you've got Alonzo Barnett, who is a quarterback coming over, was at JMU last year in the college football playoff. And really the rhythms of the JMU offense not dissimilar to what they're doing at UCF. And I believe UCF could be primed for, they're not going to go undefeated, right, like they did in Scott Frost's first tour of duty, but they got dudes. And I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. I like them a lot to be a surprising team in the Big 12. And look, I thought that was a great point about the stability. And by the way, I knew the Arizona State story because I'm curious. I've asked questions before.
Okay.
But because that is a neat little thread. But no, I think that UCF is a team that will surprise a lot of people. And I think it's going to be fun. I think the stability is cool in the Big 12. This is only the second year where we're not introducing a new team to the rest of the conference. But UCF is a team that I think we will be looking at late in the season towards the top of the conference.
Okay.
Arizona had been down for so long. They were kind of an afterthought. That was a good year for them last year. Do you think they back it up?
It was a great year. I think that the schematics on defense will be huge for Arizona because as well as they played last year, they lost a bunch of guys to the draft. Your quarterback could be one of the more overlooked, and you could maybe say physically, no pun intended. And part of the reason he doesn't get props, I think, is because Noah Fafita's 5'10", but he's about to be the all-time leading passer in Arizona history. And, I think he'll pass Nick Foles, right, to break that record at some point this year, you would think, God willing, for him. It's just kind of a matter of staying healthy. But what Brett Brennan has done as far as infusing confidence into his entire roster, like a belief of winning. They ended last year really hot. Now, defense had a lot to do with that. So their ability to maintain or sustain success defensively will really dictate a lot of their success. But the pieces are there. The excitement is there. I grew up, I love the Desert Swarm. I mean, Dick Tomey, it's there. It's there for Arizona. People really care in Tucson as well. But this is a huge year for them. I totally agree, to build on last year. But I believe they can do it.
We want to see the Big 12 succeed as a conference as much as possible, and it's been a little bit of a bummer that they haven't gotten 2 teams into the playoff. Do you think that there'll be the 2 teams that are left standing when we get to December? Will at least one of them have a bid already secured and don't necessarily need to win the conference title game?
Absolutely. And I think it's good news for folks, that follow BYU. I think that the Notre Dame game on BYU's schedule is huge this season because I think Notre Dame's going to be really good. I think the fact that they're playing in Provo gives BYU every opportunity not only to win that game or to make it at least a one-score game. And then when I look at the rest of BYU's schedule and I see 13 starters coming back, I feel very good about the Cougars going 11-1 in the regular season. And I have Texas Tech going undefeated. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. These are just, this is just a vibe I have with all the information that we've gathered and the, reporting basically and coverage I do. But I think those 2 teams have a very good chance at making the college football playoff. And I think that this could be the year that they do it. And I think that the non-con opponent like Notre Dame, because Texas Tech's schedule is just not tough. And I would, if you haven't done it yet, just go game by game. It's tough to find a loss there, even without Brendan Sorsby. I mean, if Sorsby was healthy this year, I saw Brett McMurphy. I read this, but it was an eye-opener that, Texas Tech was going to be a 2-touchdown favorite in all its conference games. So you would imagine they would still roll. That's why they play the game. Upsets happen. But I have Texas Tech and BYU both making the college football playoff. And I think I just gave some good reasons why.
When you do that week-by-week thing, when you get to week 2, there's a lot of big, high-profile non-conference games there. Arizona State's at Texas A&M. Missouri is at Kansas. Iowa State is at Iowa. Texas Tech's at Oregon State. I either see wins for the Big 12 that aren't impressive, Texas Tech at Oregon State. No one's going to give them a lot of credit for that. Or I see the Big 12 in trouble. How's the league going to make a big splash? Or they're not going to. It's just going to be 1 or 2 teams are going to pile up wins, and that scenario, which you just laid out, is really the path for the Big 12.
Yeah, I believe that is the path. I don't want to say the conference is top heavy, but when we talk about the playoff, right, we're talking about a 12-team playoff right now, and and I do totally agree. I think that Arizona State at Texas A&M, I'm like, oof, that could be rough. That's just on paper. That's what just jumps off the page at me. I do think Kansas and Missouri. I think Kansas is due there. And I think that Kansas could be a team that surprises a little bit. They got to figure out exactly what's going on under center. But I again, it's so interesting because that's why football is the best sport, in my opinion, because it's almost like every week you're getting ready to go on vacation, right? Like you see who your team is playing and you talk about it all week and you get excited. And then Friday comes and you get in the car and you're headed off to this vacation destination. Now, sometimes the vacation can be a total flop, right? Your team can get whacked. But afterwards, you talk about that amazing or tough vacation, and then you're talking about the next one. And I think that as fans, we get so hyperbolic about, the Big 12 lost a bunch of non-con games, to SEC opponents or opponents from other conferences. But at the end of the year, we're not necessarily talking about that anymore. I feel like that's more of a pride thing. At the end of the year, because you mentioned it will be unimpressive wins either way. So down the stretch, though, it's like, where are you standing, and do you win? Does your conference win? Again, like I talked about, like, can BYU beat Notre Dame? Because I don't think Arizona State can beat Texas A&M, but I do think BYU can beat Notre Dame, and I think that ultimately the postseason then gives you an opportunity. Like, I'm not saying it was an embarrassment, but I'm kind of like you guys. I want to see the conference do well. It was a total bummer to see Texas Tech get blanked last year. Like, that was just a bummer. And I do think this conference, as it grows, like, Texas Tech was not a one-year wonder. And I appreciate the fact that they should be back in the college football playoff with the chance to atone. Can BYU be there too? Absolutely.
Do you think Yormark and the conference need to do a better job of politicking? Because it seemed like he low-keyed it in terms of pushing for BYU to get in.
Yeah, I do a little bit. I think there's something to be said there. One of the best parts about Brett Yormark is that he's not a Yahoo. Honestly, like, he's not going to tell you the sky is purple. That's just not how he rolls, which you appreciate, which makes him more measured. And honestly, if you look at what he was working with when he got to the Big 12 and where it's at now, I think he's done the best job of any commissioner in college sports. Now, that being said, sometimes you need somebody to pound their chest for said team, and that's just not his personality. He tries to do it more from a strategy standpoint. Long term, I ride with Brett Yormark anywhere, but I definitely could see how someone is like, hey, why isn't he going all in, 10 toes down, as the kids say, for our team to make the college football playoff? I agree with you there. I definitely see the point there, but I don't think he'll ever do that.
Two disappointments: him not selling BYU and selling 2 football bids for the league harder. I mean, maybe be selling that even before you know who the teams are.
Yeah,
and then on top of that,
yeah,
the glass court thing at the conference tournament, that wasn't good.
Okay, but let's go. Here's the glass tournament thing. The glass floor thing, because I was boots on the glass, I guess you could say, for that one. But I was calling the American tournament, and then all that stuff happened. I got back to Texas, and the court was gone. Which you got to give them credit for that. Like, to do an about face and to eat it, I thought was impressive. But at the end of the day, you could look at the totality of the situation and say, well, maybe that was a little too aggressive with the glass court. Yeah, but I swear, Yormark has done, in my opinion, a tremendous job. Tremendous.
When you go down the shore, don't you love a good pork roll?
I love a good pork roll. I love Mac and Manco's pizza. I like cheesesteaks, too. I like it all. And I like the beach, too. I miss it here. I'm around a bunch of lakes in Texas, which I love Texas, but I miss the waves for sure. You guys are lucky. At least you're close out there. Yeah.
See, the thing about growing up in California is the beach was free. I don't know about this beach tags thing. I can't wrap my brain around that.
It drives me crazy. It drives me bananas.
Yeah, just ask the people
it drives me
Newport
bananas.
Beach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a grown man. I'm walking onto your beach. What's going to go down? What am I planning on doing? Am I going to set up a tent there and stay the week? No, I just want to come enjoy the beach. I'll tell people how great it was. But let me hang. I agree.
Yeah. Pete, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. As always, you and PK can spend a couple days comparing notes in Texas.
I'm looking forward to it. Guys, thank you so much. PK, I will see you at the Star, baby.
Okay.
Give you soon. All right, thanks, Pete.
Choosing Texas, I can tell.
All right, there's Pete Sousa. We'll take a break. When we come back, 7 o'clock hour, a lot of college football on the way in the 7 o'clock hour. Things start heating up at Big 12 Media Days. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I Guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyers rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.